You find it fun to read the story on stream? Nice. Then I feel like I should get it, because that's always something that I feel like I don't get to take advantage of and play with much, playing roguelikes mostly on stream so far, is that I really enjoy reading out things in games, and especially if there are like different characters and stuff. Some of the silliest gaming moments I've had have been with friends and just coming up with like voices for characters and trying to do a half decent job of voice acting, as it were. Okay, Prince Ribbit. Don't love to see. I mean, at least we can kind of strand Prince Ribbit around somewhere, but we would like to just make our way to the Bailey, I think it was. We heard a roar of battle as we came down. Indeed. But okay, we still haven't found magic mapping scrolls, unfortunately. But we can identify our single scroll blinking, good to know. And then I'm guessing our 7-stack is probably still going to be remove curse. Could be wrong, of course. Still could have found none of those so far. Oh, there's lots of different voices to do, yeah. Okay, very tempting. I forget I picked up Hand of Fate 2 at some point. Either for crazy cheap, or I might have even gotten it for free from like Epic or something like that. And I started playing through that game, and it had just a bit of that quality to it, where I was having a lot of fun with just the tutorial mission that I checked out, giving some voices to the different bandit leaders and whatnot that we run into. But okay, trying to find the Bailey here. We still have just had it's very distant messages show up. So, not sure where we're missing it. Unfortunately, this is a bit of a weirdly shaped level. For some reason, my brain isn't comprehending it. In fact, so much so that when I look at the map here, it's not even that weirdly laid out of a level. It's pretty much a big open area with a bunch of small structures sprinkled throughout here. But unfortunately, having a bit of issue finding this Bailey. Ouch. Taking half damage there. Hey, Failpink, how's it going? Haven't seen you in a while. Hope everything is going well on your side. Your living situation and whatnot. There we go. Jeez Louise, just calling so much attention to us. Everybody come to this part of the level all of a sudden. Let's pick up a few of these important bits and bobs, and then, I think we still have a chance for this portcullis, and there we go. It's just distant now. And in fact, these buddies could be guarding it, potentially. Have to see. Love to hear everything's fine. Yeah, I can't speak for the rest of the chat, but I'm definitely doing great today so far. We've only managed to throw away one halfling life so far today on our warm-up run, but run number 2 here. It's going pretty well, and the fling name is being put to justice maybe once and for all, giving a little bit of the credit they so deserve. Okay, So distant in this case, when we're looking for the time portals, isn't actually too far. So I wanted to make sure that there wasn't any way the gate was tucked way back there, but it must be up here somewhere. This looks like the Bailey. Let's hope it doesn't close in the last couple of turns before we're able to get there. Perfect. I'm not too familiar with all of the messages for the different places, but generally the quicker the description is, the adjective, or like the more frantic in general, the closer it is to closing off. Okie dokie. Here goes. Let's see which Bailey we get. Okay, this is Big Castle one. I don't know them well enough to know their actual vault names or anything like that. How do we fare in this fight? The Orc Knight is mostly tough because they will mite the other orcs here and cause them to deal a whole lot more damage, and we don't have the advantage of corridors here. What's the chance of evoking flight? We could try and cheese this a little bit, but it'd be scary. Without innate flight, it's scary. But what we could do is evoke that and stand out over the deep water here. And just take pot shots. I want it to at least be an option, so I'm going to back up to here. Switch to our good bullets for now. Try and take these buddies out as they approach. But we're just a couple steps away from freedom here. Oh, it might fail, I guess. Let's not forget about that. Okay, let's evoke this. Perfect. Now we can go over the water. This is just a bit sketchy. Because again, this is a timed thing and it will eventually run out. But okay, you love to see that. If I can hit everyone at once, do so, even though it does make a lot of noise, which isn't great. We also are going to make sure to do some manual shooting here because I'm just hitting period so that we this time aren't shooting in a straight line. We're shooting at that spot on the ground. Just because if we miss these targets, we'll lose our valuable ammo in the deep water here, which is absolutely no good. Also, this buddy's just running away. Fortunately, they're a little bit intelligent here. They're not just gonna take our free shots. How close are we? We're still very buoyant. Haven't started to lose any of our flight yet, at the very least. Let's go Wand of Acid. And even with our stones, I'm going to be careful here. I don't want to lose any ammo needlessly. Things mulch, that's fine, but let's not just throw it away, shall we? There we go, not too bad. So if we're able to run away from any fight here, and as long as they don't have ranged stuff, we could potentially get through anything here. And somebody said flight was useless. Yeah, some idiot was talking about how flight wasn't that great. Oh me, oh my. I do love to be proved wrong in that regard, though. I have no problem when the game makes me look stupid in a way that allows my poor character to survive. Here we go. Orc High Priests, unfortunately, are pretty much the type of enemy that we were just talking about still being an issue here. Because we cannot just retreat over our precious deep water here, as they will just keep smiting us if we try and do so. But took one out okay. Jeez Louise, holding my breath every time, because also we're praying that they don't summon too many demons here. But I guess Wand of Acid should come first, just to lower their AC. And then, there we go. Take a bit of a breath here. There we go. Much more straightforward fight here. I also, now that I've had a moment to ruminate on the joke about flight being useless, given me that moment of anxiety where I realized, oh, I sure hope that they were talking about me being the one who said it. Otherwise, I might have just called somebody else stupid. Never want to do that. I'm always just trying to call myself stupid. That's funny, not mean. It's my whole brand here. I like to fluctuate wildly between self-deprecating and self-aggrandizing humor. It's my two favorite brands, the complete opposites. Here we go. Another little bit of a tough fight, just again for the Orc Knight, but this is one that we can completely cheese out of the way. Bring flight back into it once more here. And we can probably just use regular stones and everything. Love to see it. Drop down. Perfect. And it's no problem whatsoever. Holy cow. What should have been a difficult, annoying encounter has somehow turned into something completely manageable and, dare I say, easy? The eels are a pain in the butt. Let's maybe just block these doors. Wait, there's a portal out there. Is that for just if we got stuck? Or is there something fancy out there? Also, we will take this potion of attraction. That's funny that the game decided that we didn't want those on auto pickup when we drank our only one. That might be a weird sequence of events that led to that, where, yeah, just specifically if you read or quaff ID that potion, or any potion maybe, does it turn it off of your auto pickup? Don't have enough experience with that specific sequence of events there. But what I was going to say is that I feel like this portal, is that just so that people don't get trapped somewhere silly? Or is there treasure? There's gotta be treasure. I've spent far too long in this game exploring every bit of deep water in these time portals because I always think that there's treasure at the end. Maybe not though. And unfortunately, I don't really want to deal with the eels. No, let's do it. Peek through here. Oh. Okay, still don't know about treasure, but there are some fights. Fascinating. Okay, and here we go. Let's try this out. Yeah, that hurts. Electricity damage is always quite painful. I guess max of 18 is good to know at least. Take a few more swings. Perfect. The first use of our melee weapons too. Amazing treasure. A whole 8 coins. Brilliant. But does mean that we should go through all of these. Who knows what goodies we're leaving behind. So let's do one acid charge here. Get ourselves a bit of a head start in the combat. Not too bad. Okay, that's more like a game. That I'll be happy with and I'll take. Scroll of Acquirement just tucked away in the corner here. Oh my gosh, so glad that we ended up deciding to attempt to explore more here. Let's also remove these barriers now that we guaranteed want to go through those. In fact, let's just read this scroll now, shall we? See what we can get our hands on. The +1 gloves of dexterity, not too shabby, but then an artifact amulet bouquet. Faith, resistance to cold, willpower, strength +6, and dex -2. So we would have ridiculous amounts of willpower right off the bat here. Amulet of Faith could be amazing, useless, or bad for us, depending on who we end up choosing to follow. So because I don't need the advantage this gives me right away, I think I will go for the amulet. Almost regardless here, I'll probably end up going for the amulet. Even though something like the gloves that would be for sure useful. But I'm still gonna hold off for just the moment. Let's finish exploring here. Come on, don't wake up. Or walk towards me. Okay, that works. This time we'll use our sling too. Hopefully go a bit faster. Perfect. At least dies in one hit. And I should have switched back to my stones here as well. Brain suggesting, yeah, maybe wait to pick the item after you got your god picked, and that's exactly what I was thinking, yeah. There's no reason to pick now. We're not getting a benefit that we need to complete the rest of this dungeon here. So, let's just hold off for a brief moment at the very least. And see where fate lands us here. There we go, that should be the whole shebang. I feel like I'm still missing something. This place is a plethora of secrets throughout. Also, geez Louise, you suck. Might as well take out the eels while we're here. No real reason not to. Okay, here we go. Let's not fool around. We got a scroll of acquirement out of this. We may as well confirm that there's a back wall. That's all we need. Perfect. Holy moly, quite a successful first time portal there. Always happy when we can use a little bit of strategic fun to eke our way to maybe an early advantage here that will stretch on to get us through the entire game, I'm sure. Especially since we've already gained the confidence in how to deal with these eels. We know that there's nothing to fear here. And onwards we go. Hey, finally reaching the Economical Temple just in time. Let's decide who we want to follow. Holy cow. Normally you're limited a little bit, but I feel like this is the temple setup that has every single altar in the game, because that is pretty jam-packed. Would you look at that? Indeed. Besides, of course, Jivia. I don't think Jivia is ever guaranteed to show up on a run. But we have our options open to us for once, which is definitely kind of funny. Gozeg calls out to me a little bit, just for, yeah, stability reasons. Having Potion Petition alone adds so much survivability to runs, especially ones where I'm so often just burning through consumables. Got an answer for that. Uskaya, though, did go pretty well last time, and this time around we also have the Amulet of Faith, which I'm pretty sure synergizes quite nicely with Uskaya and getting up to that kind of stun paralysis level of piety quite quickly. On the other side of things, we also have McCleb. Always a pretty solid choice for the healing on kills. Adds a lot of survivability alone. If we want to focus on just getting through this run, just survival. Sifid also mentioning that we could be boring and go Oka for the ammo, which is a very good reason there, because we do always run out of ammo, but we have a decent number of stones, we have a decent sling, and I'm always happy to risk it a little bit. Sling is a little bit more generous in that regard. If you're going bows or crossbows, it sucks so much when you just can't find any of your ammunition in the dungeon. With slings, we at least shouldn't run out of stones, unless we do some stupid ice cave stuff like we did last week. We shouldn't run out of stones. So I think Uskaya, if I want to be a little bit creative, maybe get full revenge for Hal, following the same deity that they once did. Or Gozeg for survivability, if I want to be... That's the boring choice, kind of from my perspective here. Let's take a sip of our drink, decide. And if anyone has strong opinions, definitely call them out, because I'm always happy to let other people make decisions for me and just try and work with what we got. We did also quite enjoy Dithmenos last time around. So I guess maybe Dithmenos gets an honorable mention there. Oh no, I'm adding more choices to my list here, and that's never good for me. We need to be cutting options off the list, make my job easier here. But I think to make best advantage of the Faith Necklace, I'd go Uskaya. So do I want to use this necklace? Kinda do. Still kind of useful for Dithmenos as well, the Faith component, but not quite as crucial, I guess. Let's do it. Doing this a little bit out of order here. I'm going to snatch grab that necklace. I think I'm going to give Uskaya one more shot. It's funny, going into this, I kept telling myself that I should just go Gozeg. I should just go Gozeg, get a win, get out of Halfling, because I love playing as the species, but never want to be stuck on one species too long, especially at the low end here. Heaven forbid people lose faith in my abilities or something like that. But at the end of the day, the flavor just calls out to me, and I need to get a bit weird with it, I think. So let's do so. Uskaya welcomes us indeed. Gonna give Uskaya another chance, another opportunity here. And of course, by that I mean we're not giving Uskaya another opportunity, because Uskaya is great, and Uskaya knows that they're great. We're giving ourselves another opportunity to try and be successful in showing off the deity here. It does mean that we have to spread out our training just a wee bit. As we saw last time, invocations made a pretty huge difference in terms of efficacy, so something we'll be looking out for here. And there we go, we already witnessed our first paralysis event, and I'm not even wearing the necklace that prompted this whole thing, so let's change that now, shall we? This pretty incredible necklace, also gaining a decent amount of strength score, which might help a little bit with our damage application. Here goes. At least for this early section of the run, I think we're decently set. We still might start running into issues at the usual kind of post-lair section of the game, because we're slightly better off in the fact that we were usually running like a +1 branded sling by the end of lair, and this time around we do have a +5 artifact just in pocket, so that's not too bad on its own. And we have a whole bunch of willpower, which I do love in general for not worrying about wizards or anything like that. Also, completely forgotten about skills. Probably should have switched off slings at some point. I mean, we're probably hitting with decent accuracy and hitting slightly harder than usual, so that's not bad by any means. But here, let us start to train. I'm thinking a bit of armor or a bit of dodging. Both are going up at some point here. It's just where we want to start. Evasion is at 13. Not great, not horrible. Let's go with armor first, actually. Just for a little bit, we'll bring this up to around even just a 5 or something like that. Then we'll maybe switch into dodging. And on the other side of things here, I also want to start training invocations right away. Bring it up to maybe 12 to start out. All liable to change, of course, but that is looking like a half decent start. And now I'm just taking a peek at my inventory because it's been a while since I really paid attention to what we were picking up. We have a couple of rings here to definitely try on. +4 ring of protection is pretty huge. I will take that. I also didn't realize fully that I was wearing a ring of willpower, which just means that if we go to our resistances here, we're sitting at a ridiculous level of willpower. We're just stubborn to get through this dungeon, and we're gonna do it no matter what comes up in our path. Gosh darn it. Need good willpower to make it through the realm of Zot in one piece, so that works out for me. And resist corrosion. If we read into that, it's maybe again a bit of an ode to the original adventurer Fling, Al, who unfortunately lost their life to acid corrosion, but I'm sure we'll do them some justice here. Holy cow, that was really fortunate timing on the sleep. Let's take these buddies upstairs, shall we? And we're quite slow at swinging a falchion here, so probably not quite worth it to compete or to fight with that at the moment. We are kind of lacking in weapon here. I'm gonna look up short blade again and see what we've missed. +3 dagger freezing. Let's grab that, shall we? It's nice to have a short blade on hand for when we get those paralysis effects, especially one that starts out at a base attack delay of 1. Allows us to hopefully get a few more stabs in even before we manage to get our invocations trained up too high. See how she goes, of course. And this is a much better entrance point into this floor of the dungeon. Not completely surrounded by enemies in a wide open area, which you do love to see. So let's make our way through here, guessing and hoping that things won't be too weird or difficult or wacky until we get to lair. Of course, I'm always ready to be surprised by a Hydra or something silly like that. Hey, an artifact trident. Would you look at that? Been too long since we saw one of those sluggers. And our first two-headed ogre of the game. Going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt here. If they get up to us, it's pretty close to lethal hits each and every time here. 28% chance to paralyze. Never didn't have it. I need to stop doing that. Apparently calling my own shots is just not gonna do the trick today. One more? Can always... I'd hate to resort to like a blink or something to get out of this. Unfortunately though, we don't love retreating. I guess downward is safe, right? This is where all the monsters were? Okay. Got myself turned around for a moment there. But let's see how lucky we are with this gap that we've managed to create. Because if we're able to just leave, we'll just do so. Still gonna be a wee bit scary, but slightly more manageable if we just keep stair dancing around, kind of making noises places. The enemies do kind of scatter and go back and forth eventually, at the very least. So we can see how that goes. Turns out that this was the +10 Trident Newt Slayer. Pretty sweet. Does have resist poison on it, which makes me worried that this is going to be the only source of resist poison we find for the longest time. Let's just pray that that's not the case, because as we mentioned earlier, switching to a Trident would mean getting rid of our shield, which I am happy to take any of the defensive advantages that I possibly can at this stage in the game. Okay, Paralyzed Steam Dragon. Steam Dragons are a little bit scary at this stage, so we will use our fancy bullets. Perfect. Jeez Louise, just keep calling attention to this as everything's croaking and screaming, making a lot of noise. There we go. Not too bad. Definitely a crowded floor. Very just action-packed. Each of these little chambers that is revealed to us. Still very concerned too about the two-headed ogre that's wandering around somewhere. Hey! We were just talking about you. This time around, though, we had the distance, fortunately, to just absolutely wreck house. Holy moly. Be nice if every fight went that way, wouldn't it? One can dream at the very least. But I'm going to run away here and then get around a corner. This corner is not perfect for avoiding priests calling down smite attacks on us, but it's not horrible either. What do you do? 20 plus a short sword. Short sword is probably like 6 or 8, right? Probably 6. So we will be fine against just you, but a smite would hurt. Let's do a couple more stones here. Keeping an eye on my health. We do at least have a decent number of health potions relative to normal here. So if worse comes to worse, oh my gosh, I can merge with somebody. Ah, dang it. I was hoping to run into the priest there so we could use our grand finale ability once before the end, but that's fine, I guess. Poop that party a wee bit. There they all are. I guess at the end of the day, I am truly just happy that they decided not to show up during the actual combat. So we will take that. And we found our entrance to Orc, but not to Lair yet. So probably explore down one more floor here, see what we can run into. As long as it's nothing too scary here, then I am definitely happy to get down to probably at least D11. See how she goes. I'm worried that I'm growing too complacent at this point. This is the stage in the run where I start thinking to myself like how smoothly it's going and things like that, where I feel I'm going to tab into a wizard that has the Hoodib's Crystal Spear and take almost lethal damage in just a turn or so. But by calling it out, I'm hoping to subvert some of that usual behavioral stuff at the very least. Can I still merge? That's fun, let's do it. Oh, 99% chance to fail. Never mind. Not going to be merging with anyone anytime soon here. Still takes quite a few points in invocations, but that's fine, that's fine. Got excited seeing that show up so early here. The Amulet of Faith definitely already showing quite a marked improvement in just how quickly we rank up through the piety ranks, or piety levels with Uskaya here. I definitely am excited to see how that turns out, especially if we're able to find something this time around like a quick blade. Really get that that damage application coming in quick, and especially the backstabs that are hopefully going to come behind the paralysis. Another scroll of blinking is definitely something you'd love to see. Up to 5 now, which will hopefully not be thrown away in a single encounter, even though you never know what we come up against. But that should last us through a few emergencies at the very least. And that Ring of Corrosion Resistance already coming in handy here against the early Acid Drake. Bit of a sketchy enemy to find at this stage in the game normally. Not too shabby. In fact, we're definitely at a point here where I should take a quick pause and use Identify Scrolls, figure out a few of our other options here and what they can actually do. I'm going to leave that 8 stack alone forever, just always assuming that it's Remove Curse, but never quite knowing for sure. It's a fun little mystery. But let's find out. The Ruby Potion being a Potion of Flight. I guess that's it. So we're doing pretty good. Oh, I've been carrying around a shiny scale mail this whole time. Let's try that on, shall we? See what it looks like, see what it do. More resistance to fire, but it is better this time, so I'll definitely take that. Still looking good, looking snazzy in the dungeon here. And let's keep going then. Just being super risky in how we fight that centaur. I guess partially or largely due to how the fight against the first centaur went. Namely, quite well. So I wasn't too scared, but it feels wrong to be doing so for sure. I feel like that's normally what I'd do if I wanted to get a character killed. But before we dip into lair, let's identify another ring here. Ring of resistance to negative energy. Might come in handy, but probably not so much for lair. Anything else we wish to do inventory-wise? I think it's looking pretty solid. So we may as well check on our skills. That's that. I guess I'm still training stealth. I'm probably not that stealthy, right? Oh, I'm surprisingly stealthy even in this scale mail. Interesting. I think I will take a break from training stealth. We have a nice base level here where we're not waking up everything on site, which is awesome for sure. And at this stage, we should maybe start training some fighting and focusing a bit more on these crucial, critical skills, I think. See where that takes us here. More sling bullets is awesome. I'd love if we could store up a nice backlog of those to use against anything too sketchy. Also, holy crap, 6 blink scrolls. Far too lucky so far. It's gotten me worried now. I'm back to being anxious about what else is the run gonna throw at me in order to make up for such fortuitous luck so far. Who knows, I guess. We are just about coming up to the point in the game where we will have to see some of the trickier parts of the game, I guess, or some of the scarier things that the game has in store for us. Just in terms of the fact that it always seems to be around the second level of our S branches that things get real hectic in the unique department. So we'll see if that trend continues to show up. Of course, I'm mostly just happy to even make it that far at this point after how a couple of these runs have gone. Okie dokie. And do I even bother switching my weapons? Yeah, let's try out the dagger. Didn't last very long. Just unfortunate because I was hoping to get to the basilisk. Petrify, 13% chance. Let's switch to willpower. And does that go down to 1? Heck yeah, bud. No longer concerned. Perfect. The one and only time that we'll have a run that's in the first floor of Lair and is able to get up to 4 pips of willpower. Just at the snap of a finger here. Love to see it. Here we go. Oh geez. Those cracks were louder than I thought. Turns out I've been holding my neck a lot stiffer than it seemed. It happens a lot in these high pressure games, for sure. Okie dokie, we have to be a bit cautious here. Don't want to lose too much of the good stuff to the deep water, but we will switch to sling bolts and just fire at the feet of the cane toad. I was going to call it, I don't remember, what's its original name again? Horny frog? Thorny frog? Something. Pressure, we've got Jim on our side. We can't lose. I am forgetting about good old Jimbo. Gonna see us through to the end. No, we do have a lot going for us this time around. We have Jim, we have the pressures and like well wishes of our forefathers upon us in terms of trying to do Hal's deity proud. Get it into the end here. Everything's lining up just so. Elephant being just a wee bit scary here in terms of I do not want to be pushed off of stairs. Also, lost one sling bullet into the deep water, unfortunately, after all of the talk that I've given on that side of things. I still managed to make the classic mistakes here. There we go. Cut through the yak hordes here. The absolute masses. And, acid dragon scales. Probably not amazing. They have half the encumbrance rating of our current armor while being the same AC. So definitely something we could potentially switch to in the future. It's not often that I use the lighter dragon armors, I guess is what I'll call them. But we shall see. Because it's not often that I'm playing an evasion-based squishier character as well, I guess, on the flip side of that. Also, did not mean to switch weapons there, just wanted to switch ammo types, and didn't even end up doing so. But holy crap, Lair 2, quite wild here. Just all of the elephants showing up to the party. Erica, I guess, at least hadn't seen us yet, so we can kind of just walk away still. Oh my gosh, that blink frog needs to get the heck out of the way. Can elephants go into deep water? I believe they can indeed go in the deep water, so we can't do our classic cheese strat there, unfortunately. But we do have a lot of stairways that we can hop between here, so not too concerned. I think we can kind of cheese things out this way. At least fight them just 1 or 2 at a time. Which is, of course, how you want all your encounters to go in this game in particular. Also, seeing our skills pop up at the bottom of the screen there reminded me that we probably should recheck some of these. We're now at the stage where we wanted to switch over to training our dodging up. Take that to 8. And otherwise, probably pretty happy. Grand finale is down to 41% failure chance. So I'm actually going to change the target level on invocations up to like 16 instead. See if that does us slightly better in that regard. Because that's definitely one that we want to be able to pull off if and when we cast it. Perfect. And that's exactly how we wanted to fight all those elephants too. Being able to kind of split them up like that. Love to see it. So let's take on Erica now by herself rather than in the crowd of large mammals. There we go. Not too shabby. Could always go with the long blade route. That flaming scimitar making me think of that. I guess Hal did end up going through to long blades as well, so we'll have to see how things show up. Maybe Riff here was the biggest fan of his, what is it, like, great-granddad Hal? If it's a straight linear line of genealogy, fathers to sons, at the very least. But yes, just the biggest fan and wants to live up to Hal's name in every way, be the swashbuckling swordsman. Also, I keep deciding to pronounce the W in sword on stream. I'm worried that people will think that that's just how I actually say the word. Which wouldn't be the end of the world. I don't really mind too much if people think I say the word wrong. There are too many words that I do just legitimately say wrong, where if I got offended by that, I'd have a lot of problems in my life. But got a little bit scared seeing the huge crowd of animals here. But managing to get through, as long as we're not surrounded by more than a couple of them at once, it seems like we can kind of hold our own here. And okay, we almost got up to the 3 there. I thought we'd have to test our words immediately, but fortunately, a turn or two is not too shabby. And there we go. In the fluctuating roller coaster that is this run, I'm back to feeling confident again. Sling Bullet's doing just fine to take out the Hydras too, which is always a good test. That's usually a pretty solid benchmark coming into Lair, is when you see your first few Hydras, especially if they have 4 or 5 heads. It's usually a nice benchmark there because you're not totally worried about your life. Still not 100% sure how we will fare against an 8-headed Hydra or something silly like that, but we'll burn that bridge when we get to it, I'm sure. And this does all kind of remind me that one skill thing that I keep thinking of as we run into creatures here but haven't turned on as of yet is evocations, because it has been nice in the past here to be able to reliably resort on some of our consumable evokes. So I should maybe even give that a thought now. I think invocations can probably stop being focused. We don't need Grand Finale for a while, even though I really wanted it to work when we tried it a while back. We shouldn't be facing anything that strong for a little bit at least, hopefully. Fingers crossed, of course. So, in that regard, we can slow down the training there. And maybe just turn on evocations. Maybe I won't worry too much about logging the menu here or adding too many things. It's always interesting to see and hear about how different people play the game in that regard, because some people are very obsessive over their skills and want to make sure that experience is only going exactly where you need it for any stage in the run, versus there are other people, and oftentimes people who are just as proficient in the game in terms of win rate and whatnot, who have a bit more of a lack approach, while still, of course, following the strictures of not wasting where you're throwing your EXP gains and stuff like that. you can kind of leave multiple skills on if you have the, I don't know, the bearing and the thought knowledge, I guess, to make it through the early parts of the game with the slight disadvantage of maybe mistraining, quote unquote, mistraining your experience. But I should probably try and fall into the first camp there just because I'm not quite perfect at surviving the early game. Though it may shock you to learn. So, it is usually better for me to really focus in the training to my strengths, which is why you will often see me just training down my weapon to min delay as fast as possible, or on casters I usually will just focus to the kind of set of spells that I can pull from the starting book that I think, you know, gets me to a base level of comfort. I guess a huge part of that is because I often play Ice Elementalists, and they have very much a spellbook that kind of falls into that department. Because once you get Frozen Ramparts up and, Frozen Ramparts and Ozaku's Armor, you can kind of, or in Summon Ice Beasts rather, actually, is the one I was thinking of, but you can kind of ramp up super fast. But here we go, a Boulder Beetle is usually a pain in the butt for these characters. The high AC makes it really tough to deal any damage, so I'm hoping to get some corrosion effects. Okay, we got a pip of it there. Let's see if we can then maybe deal a little bit of damage. Oh man, they hit so hard though. It hurts, it hurts. Okay, let's check some other things, shall we? Chance to paralyze, 34%. Not great, but not horrible. Oh, and we're actually really close to the piety level of paralysis here. Ooh. That makes this a scary fight. Let's maybe try and deal just a little bit more damage. Perfect. Get the paralysis going, and a backstab with the dagger does the trick. There we go. Perfect timing on our deity's abilities there. Love to see it. And hopefully heal up before too much shows up. Jeez Louise. Calling the whole neighborhood down on our heads here, as per usual. I mean, it's layer 4, but still, what is this? The Boulder Beetle, Catoplebis, Black Mambas, all the scurry beasties showing up all at once. So, what do I do with you, Catoplebis? What do you polymorph into? Let's maybe take a look. Different colors of Draconian. That's scary. So Catoplebis are quite high hit dice monsters, it turns out. Even our chances to paralyze and stuff are probably going to be super low, yet 3%. But should still be able to potentially get through this fight. Let's take it one step back. I want to be able to dodge out of the way of smoke. You don't want to be in a hallway against these buddies, because if you have to keep them through the smoke, things are not going to go well. So, let's start this fight, shall we? I think we stay here. Okay, that was fortunate timing again from Iskaya. It's basically timing that out there where if they shot at us, we could have gone up or down, trying to keep the positional advantage in our favor there. I'm also just going to drop the falchion and let's set this dagger to be our B key using the equals sign to rebind. Just makes it a wee bit easier to switch back and forth between these two weapons that we're commonly using. Also, did that Hydra not here? Must not have heard. Very scared of where that Hydra is going to pop out, though. It's usually not a problem if we can control the fights with the Hydras. But when they come in a situation like this, that's not what you want to see. So let's get a backstab in. How confident am I in this fight? Chance to paralyze an 8-headed Hydra is 23%, which is not great. Do have Scrolls of Fear and we have Scrolls of Blinking. But this buddy will kill us in one turn if they get next to us. So, gotta keep that in mind, of course. Of course, of course. Let us even start backing up now. So I just want to keep this same distance between us, maintain that. And the goal here is to walk to the stairs, because that way I can take a couple of pot shots and just get the heck out of there.